What's up, everyone? Welcome to Say Hey Plays. My name is Jose Bouquett. Alongside me today, leading off opening day, of course, Ian Cameron Bobano. Ian, how are you doing over there?
Very good, Jose. Welcome to your hosting debut here with the Say Hey Play show for a 2022 MLB season. Glad to be with you. I'll be with you, I think, on Thursdays the entire season. So looking forward to it. Of course, we've got a bunch of games that have already started, a few more left, and always exciting day when you got MLB back in action.
Yes, it is. It's a fun time. I appreciate you. Thank you for again getting me into this and saying thanks for the hosting thing. I appreciate that. And I appreciate you joining me every Thursday. Yes, and you'll probably join me a lot more than just Thursdays. But we'll give the people some sprinkles of everyone, like we said. I've got a bunch of guests planned out throughout the year. Bobano, of course, one of them. It's going to be a great time. And I can't wait. I cannot wait. It's exciting. So I appreciate everyone for watching, and shout out to everyone that is watching. Real Deal Prime, James Lil. So shout out to you guys, and we'll get right into it. But first, let's talk about real quick the plays that we had already happening. There are a couple games already off. The Cubs Brewers game, I believe that's the latest game. Royals and Guardians, newly named Guardians, and we've also got the lowly Pirates struggling against the Cardinals. I'll start off with mine real quick. Right now, I'm sitting at 1-1. I need to double check if the innings I should be cashing the first five under, but I've went 1-1 with the Corbin Burns prop. Obviously, not going my way. Just pitching to contact. Did a good job technically. Had 3 runs given up. Not like him, but not getting the strikeouts. But I did end up cashing on my back to back, or the double up as people call it, in the Cleveland Guardians game. I took no run first inning minus 125 with both these pitchers, who I thought would be a good matchup to start off the season and dominate. And both of them have done so far. And I also have the first five under and four at minus 125. So was that first run, no run first inning in minus 125. So both of those cash for me, I believe. So I'll be sitting at 2-1 so far. Ian, what about you? How are you doing so far?
Not thrilled with the Brewers result. They look like they might be losing 5-4 to the Cubs. I did a split between the money line and the run line on the Brewers, and it's looking like that's going to maybe come up short as they're down 5-4 to the Cubs. And they just didn't do enough damage against Hendricks as I thought they would. They had opportunities, but didn't cash in on that. It's really all I've got going in the early games. I've got a couple of totals that I like in the games that are still yet to begin. So we'll get into those.
All right, good. That's exciting. That is very exciting. I can't wait to watch these next couple of games, and it's going to be a good slate here. We'll start off with the game that's already been pushed back a little bit, a little delayed. Still some rain in the forecast. That's kind of what it is in Washington and that metroplex. A lot of people, I believe, they still have the Skittles tarp. But we're going to start off with Mets Nationals. Tyler Megal going to get the opening day start. A lot of broken bodies on that rotation for the Mets versus Patrick Corbin. I think it's an interesting matchup there, of course, like you see on the screen, around minus 120 for the Mets, plus 103 for the Nationals at home. Patrick Corbin, we all knew him as a lefty ace. Came in there, was dominant for a year or so. Went with the Arizona Diamondbacks, got traded, all that good stuff, got signed a contract. And now, last year, 5.82 ERA, 9-16, and then 170 innings pitched. Just not great. And to sport that 5 ERA, he had a 5 FIP too. So that's a real deal right there. And Megal, rookie, I guess he still has that qualification. Only 89 innings pitched in the show last year. So a good amount. But, a 4.52 ERA with a 4.6 FIP, not the best. But we'll see what he has today. He gets to start over a lot of qualified seasoned veterans that, some are hurt. But I think it's an interesting decision giving him a start here. I'll read off the lineups real quick for everyone. We've got for the Mets, Starling Marte, JD Davis, who we'll talk about here soon. Francisco Lindor, obviously the star of this team, guy needs to bounce back in a major way, and I think he will. Pete Alonso, the polar bear, Eddie Escobar, Robinson Cano getting the start at second base. Someone will have to check the date of this show because I don't know what year it is. But shout out to him for coming back again after a steroid suspension. Mark Cannon, center field, Jeff McNeil, and James McCann for surrounding out the Mets. Nationals, we've got Cesar Hernandez, obviously Juan Soto, the MVP favorite, that guy. Nelson Cruz, Josh Bell, Keibert Ruiz, the guy that you'll remember from the Max Scherzer and Trey Turner trade from the Dodgers. I think that's his major league debut as well. If not, he got a couple innings last year. I'll double check that later. But we've got Lance Thomas, Maikel Franco, Alcides Escobar, and Victor Robles rounding out the lineup for the Nationals. Ian, what do you think of this game so far? I have nothing on this game, honestly. Kind of a tough game to bet here, but I'd love to know what you think.
Yeah, the Mets and the Nationals. Chance of rain, obviously, is why this got pushed back. But I'm saying it's looking like the rain is going to be gone for the most part after maybe 7:30, 8 o'clock Eastern. So maybe they got to push it back a little bit. But once this game started, I don't expect any delays because the rain is supposed to move on out of the DC area as the night goes on. And that's important because I do like the potentially to be some runs scored in this game. I do like the over a little bit. One of two overs that I like on the night slate here. I don't trust really McGill a whole lot. He's, really starting here only out of necessity here. He's only a second-year guy. He had a 4.52 ERA in 18 starts last year. There's nothing to write home about. And, of course, with everything that's going on with the Mets, Max Scherzer wasn't quite ready to start tonight. And of course, Jake DeGrom's going to be out for an extended amount of time to begin the season. As a result, they have to turn to someone else in terms of their opening day starter. And they've gone to McGill here in this instance. On the other side, you've got Corbin, who, look, obviously didn't have a great year last year, the left-hander who 5.82 ERA, 37 home runs allowed. It was just absolutely not very good for him last year. This Mets lineup, I think, has the capability of being solid, but there were so many times last year we didn't see it. But when you look at what they've got, Starling Marte is capable at the plate, and he's going to lead off tonight. We know what Davis can do. Alonso can be a powerful hitter in this lineup. They've got hopefully Lindor can bounce back really offensively and defensively. That's the hope. They bring in a good, steady, professional hitter, Mark Canha, who's with the Oakland Athletics. Jeff McNeil still capable. What do you get out of Robinson Cano at this stage of his career? What's he got left in the tank? That's a question. But there's still some reasons to think the Mets lineup could be solid, and it's not like they're facing a pitcher that's really coming off any sort of successful season last year. Far from it. Now, there are some things to like about Corbin. His velocity was up a little bit in spring training. That's a positive. That's usually sometimes the sign of something that could be a bet-on situation, but I'd still want to see him start first and see what he's like before trusting him to go out there and roll down this Mets lineup, mow them down. On the other side, I'm not a big McGill fan, and look, Washington's going to have issues with their pitching, but their lineup is going to have a couple of sticks that are capable of hitting mediocre pitching, which is what I think McGill is. Cesar Hernandez, Juan Soto. They bring in Nelson. Nelson Cruz can still produce. I know the guy's in his 40s right now, but I think he can still give you a good at bat at the plate, work the count. He's good at doing that, really make McGill work a little bit here. Yeah, it's a little thin at the bottom of the order. I won't deny that whatsoever when you're talking, Ruiz, Thomas, Maikel Franco, who's been around the block with a bunch of teams now. That's concerning a little bit. But more than anything, I don't trust either bullpen. It's another reason why I like the over a little bit. I don't really think the Mets bullpen there's still some question marks there, especially in the setup to the closer. And on the flip side, I think the Nationals bullpen's got all kinds of question marks littered all over it. So put it all together. Again, the rain was concerning a little bit, but I think we're going to get a relatively dry night. Most of the rain will have moved out. I think we can get over the total 9 here.
Okay. Yeah, I'm a little more skittish on totals is what I've realized so far in the baseball season. I've seen them move all morning and all day, and that seems to be a lot of people's wheelhouses. And I have not gotten that feel yet. I'm definitely the first 5 totals more obviously since I cashed with that first 5 under as Zach Greinke is actually in some trouble now in the top of the 6th. But and by the way, we've got a 5-4 game top 9. 2 outs left. The guy on first for Andrew
I think it just
McCutcheon
went
and the
final.
Brewers.
It looks like
Oh,
Cubs win 5-4. So they're going to sing that dopey song on day 1. Lucky us.
And David Robinson getting the close there, I believe. Yeah, it's Team USA's David Robinson actually. But I don't really have anything on this game. Like I said, I think the only thing I would kind of look at, and I was trying to look on Bovada to see what that price would be. And of course, they don't have either one of those guys. So if anyone in the chat could let me know, I'll write it down. JD Davis and Pete Alonso home run props. You'll probably get a better number on JD Davis, obviously, so it might lean that way. But 4 home runs each off of Corbin. They both hit over 300 against him. They have 8 and 11 strikeouts respectively, but they both got over 30 plate appearances against him too. So familiarity, 4 home runs there. Those would be my leans there, and we'll talk official Jack of the Day later, obviously. Then I might find a different name for it. I don't want to infringe upon Connor's copyright, but yeah, I think I'll roll with that right there. Could you repeat that one more time, man? Sorry, I lost you.
Was I muted? Yeah. I like it. I like. By the way, props. I will have more props next week, 2 weeks from now. It's opening day. I'm not rushing into betting the player props this early in the season, but they're coming. Once everybody gets a couple games under the belt, we have some data behind all these hitters. They've had at least 7, 8, 10, 15 at bats. Then we're going to start digging into some props on a more daily basis.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think one of my themes on the show every day, I'll try to give out a Jack of the Day. And again, I'll try to find a better name for that because I don't want to infringe upon Connor's copyright. So I will find a Jack of the Day for you guys today, and it'll probably be one of those two guys, and I'll figure that out here later. However, let's move on because there are other games in the slate, and I'd like to talk about them because this is kind of a muddled game between both these two teams. Next, we're going to go to the Cincinnati Reds Atlanta Braves game. The defending champions are here. Max Fried versus Tyler Mahle, who put together a pretty good year last year. 13-6 last year, 3.75 ERA, 180 innings pitched, so definitely got the body of work to legitimize it, and a 3.8 FIP. So a legitimately good starter for the Reds here versus the Atlanta Braves. And Max Fried, who obviously is a stud in himself, 14-7, a 3 ERA, and a 3.3 FIP, and 165 innings pitched. Both these pitchers are great. Well, I wouldn't say great. I'd say Mahle's a good pitcher. Max Fried can go from good to great whenever he wants to. Minus 180, minus 180-ish, I should say, for the Braves right now, and plus 148 to 150-ish for the Reds. Right now, I got nothing on this game. The next game, what we're going to talk about, is a game that I'm really focused on, the game that intrigues me. But I'm excited to see Matt Olson in a new uniform. Obviously, he'll be hitting second for the Braves. Eddie Rosario leads it off, and Austin Riley. Ozuna back in the lineup for the Braves there too after, which will be, I guess, interesting. Hope he strikes out every time. Ozzy Albies, Adam Duvall, who had a really questionably high RBI total on DraftKings. I've talked about that with Peter Loshak. Travis d'Arnaud, the debut of the DH for the Atlanta Braves. Remember, we've got all DHs in the National League. You'll probably see that with the Cubs and the Brewers. But I've got Alex Dickerson and Dansby Swanson, the heartthrob, everyone's favorite shortstop, number 1 overall pick, rounding out that lineup for the Reds. A different team, obviously, because this team has gotten turned over, flipped. This is basically what the Reds owners did. They took the team, grabbed it by his ankles, flipped them over, shook it for all the lunch money he could get out of it, took all the players, and sent them all home. Jonathan India, Rookie of the Year, leading off this lineup. The Punisher, Artistino Aquino, is going to be back in this lineup. You'll remember him from having like 40 home runs in like 20 games. You'll remember that stretch. Will he put that together, or will he just continue to strike out? We'll see. Tommy Pham, they're one of their only acquisitions in the offseason. Joey Votto's still there. Air Canada, the Canadian, the best Canadian baseball player of all time.
I don't know about that.
I was about to say, is Larry Walker Canadian? I don't remember.
Yeah, Larry Walker is, and he's definitely in the conversation. There's no question.
Okay, so then we've got Tyler Stevenson, and we've got Moose. Mike Moustakas is still back there doing his thing at DH. He probably loves the DH in the National League now. Appreciates that a lot. Kyle Farmer and Brandon Drury round out the Reds lineup. Bobana, like I said, I've got nothing on these first 2 games here. Let me know what you think. Anything? Maybe you're gonna tickle the total here again.
Yeah, this is one where I could maybe look toward a first 5 under, possibly. I like both pitchers. I mean, Max Fried has shown what he's all about. He's been good. He knows this ballpark. And the one thing the Reds weren't good last year was against lefty pitching. They really weren't. And that definitely concerns me a little bit going into this year with a lineup that, let's be honest, is a little bit weaker than it was last year. You look at some of the bats and sticks now that aren't going to be available in the Reds lineup this year. When you look at it, Castellanos ain't there anymore. Jesse Winker ain't there anymore. There's a couple of those bats that are missing from last year's team. And yeah, they've still got, they've got India as a very good leadoff hitter. Nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that. Aristides Aquino, Tommy Pham's a solid. Joey Votto still showed he's got a little bit in the tank. I think Tyler Stevenson could be a decent hitting catcher. Nick Senzel, if he stays healthy, solid. Moustakas, don't like that he, whiffs a lot, but he can still put the a little pop in the bat there. And then down at the bottom, you got Farmer and Drury. I still think it's a little bit of a weaker lineup than last year. As far as Atlanta is concerned, their lineup, when you look at it, still, of course, it's going to be a lot of it depending upon how great a season Acuna obviously has for them. But there's no question about that. Rosario, Olson, Riley, Albies, Duvall, d'Arnaud, Dickerson, Swanson, this lineup, and waiting for, of course, him to get back. We'll see. But to me, I like both pitchers. And I think, in an opening night scenario like this, I would rather look at both pitchers to do well, not trust the bullpen. Look, Cincinnati's bullpen was very erratic last year. I don't know if they've really moved leaps and bounds to improve that pen last year. Atlanta's got a decent pen, but at the same time, I would rather, with unders especially, focus on the fact that I have faith in the starters. The reason why I would like an under, usually at MLB, it's usually the starting pitching matchup. So this is one where I haven't bet it, but I do have a pretty good lean toward the first 5 under here.
Yeah, I like that too. Shout out to Jeremy, who also likes it in the chat, and I appreciate that. And shout out to everyone watching this chat, by the way. We'll take a quick break to shout them out, of course. Real deal, like I said, 7 figures. Appreciate you. Bases are back. Yes, they are. Dave and Cal, 48. Love that. And by the way, Real Deal agrees. Walker, baby. Billy Brisbane, a play that I like in this game and a play that I'm addicted to. You're starting to kind of sell me in on it, Ian. After I said all those pitcher numbers too, I'm kind of selling myself. No run first inning in this game, -110, a good cheap price there. I like that. Only issue for me right now, like I said, Olson and Austin Riley, second and third in the Braves lineup. That's scary. But you just got to get those outs. That's basically what it comes down to. So I like that. Shout out to Amy and Sophia. Appreciate them for watching. Jeff, appreciate you, of course. And look at the Cubs, man. Well, +153. Come out and get the dub there. Kyle Hendricks on opening day is just something else. Shout out to Alexis, Alejandro, Rez Mob, of course, and Benjamin Mills. So appreciate all you guys for watching. Ian, I think I might join you here. I think I might make that official now that we've talked a little bit. The first 5, I've got it. First 5 under. Let me double check here again. 4.5. Yeah, I've got a first 5 under 4.5, -120 on Bovada right now. A little expensive. I took the -125 on those earlier today with the Royals and Guardians. So I'm not opposed to taking that juice for the first 5 under here. So as you watch me write it down, I'm actually going to take it and right now. First 5 under 4.5 -120 in this game too. So
by the way, that first 5 under in the Cleveland Kansas City game, I didn't really have much trust in Greinke, but he is facing a lineup that could be among the worst in Major League Baseball this year. So even though I think, you know what, I like that he pitched well today because I think it's going to lead to more value to fade Greinke next time out because he's not going to face a piss poor lineup like this probably next time. Cleveland is a bad offense, folks. That is for sure, and they're going to struggle to score runs all year.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly with that. I like that he was at home. He pitches well. He pitched well, I guess I should say, in Kaufman too. So I like those aspects of it. And it's early, and he's not tired yet. When the season gets on, he gets get more tired. If you look at his splits from month to month to month, his ERA just gets a little higher. So it's definitely better to, like I said, bet on the older pitchers like Zach Greinke now, or a team like the Orioles now that aren't beaten down. But I like both those spots there. Ian, are you ready to talk about it? Kind of, I think the main event, with these were kind of the entrees. Now we're say appetizers. Now we're on to the entree here. Yep. That's how much I know about the serving industry and such. The Houston Astros are going to Los Angeles
Put
to
up or shut up
face.
time for the Angels. I'm sick of hearing about
Yes.
this team and wanting to make the playoffs. How about you make it for a change?
Yes, and I put my money where my mouth is. I thought this team, or I think this team's going to make the playoffs, and I bet the yes. I believe it was 138. I forgot already, but that was an official play for me. I think this team finally, got shaken to its senses a little bit. GM change. They realized all the pitching they need, and maybe they figured it out. Maybe we'll
Maybe.
see here, but I'm not taking them today. I'm actually taking. I made it official. I took it last night. Line has changed a little bit. I saw it at plus 110 actually last night. Didn't bet it then. Waited a couple minutes, I guess. Refreshed the page. Of course, got a plus 107. I took Astros full game money line, and I took Astros first five against Ohtani. Now, Ian, you know I love Ohtani. I love Shohei Ohtani probably more than most men should. But I think that let's just say there's a lot of pressure on Ohtani today, and I wouldn't be surprised if he had started off a little slowly, gives up a couple runs to an Astros team, an organization who's one of the best in baseball. They developed all their players, they developed Springer, Correa, Altuve, and they've got another guy in Jeremy Pena who I put a little future on to win AL Rookie of the Year along with Bobby Witt. I think Jeremy Pena could be the real deal, and I definitely think that it'll take a second, maybe for the Angels to get into it. Maybe they start a little slowly. We're like, the same old Angels, all this stuff, and they start coming on later on in the year. It obviously depends on the health of Mike Trout, who we get to see in this lineup. I highly recommend that everyone watch this game because you don't know how many times in a season you'll get to see this kind of lineup for the Angels. Ohtani leads off, Trout at second, Rendon at third. That's an all-star 1-2-3. Obviously, Tony Rendon has been struggling as of late, but he was at a time one of the best third basemen in baseball. So and he's getting paid as the literal, I guess, second best baseball player of all time per year. So best infielder, I should say. So he should pick it up this year. Obviously, hopefully that's not a Pujols contract for him. Matt Duffy, Joe Adell, follow those two. Joe Adell, top prospect for the Angels, and he was supposed to be not Mike Trout, but just another good outfielder they have. Has been floundering. Finally having a good spring. We'll see if he puts it together. Jared Walsh, all-star first baseman last year, hitting low in the lineup, but trying to give him some length there. Max Stassi, Brandon Marsh, David Fletcher round that out. And for the Astros, some of the usual suspects with some little bit of flair in there. Altuve, Tucker, who we'll talk about briefly, or I guess we'll talk about here shortly. Bregman, Jordan, Yuli, Michael Brantley, and then the new faces, Chas McCormick, sort of new, came in a little bit in center field. Love that. He's there, one of their prospects, a good fast guy, good defense, kind of what they need in center field. And Jeremy Pena, like I said, shortstop, we'll see how he does. And then Martin Maldonado rounding out the lineup there for the Astros. What side are you on, Ian? You with us or against us? Are you on the Angels here or are you on the Astros squad?
This is it's an interesting game. It really is. I mean, there's all of a sudden a little bit of hope, a little bit of excitement, for the Angels. And, Joe Maddon's got to step up too. I mean, you're supposed to be this big time manager. Let's get this team into the playoffs here. But how many times last year was this team able to put a healthy Ohtani, Trout, and Rendon in the same lineup card for a particular game last year? Not very often. And the question is, how many times are we going to see that be the case this year? How often are we going to see these three guys in particular healthy enough that we're able to see Trout, Rendon, and Ohtani all in the same lineup on the same day? Because if they do have that more often than not and they stay healthy, that's a great trio. And, we always talk about how, you could take your chances with Trout because there oftentimes Rendon and Ohtani were hurt and not in the lineup. Well, now you can't worry. You got to worry about that with Trout, Rendon, and Ohtani all ready to go and in the lineup tonight. So this makes this Angels lineup more dangerous. I like Matt Duffy. He's a good pro hitter, gives you a good at bat. I think the guy that could take the Angels to the next level here is Joe Adell. This is a guy that's a very high level prospect. Hasn't exactly clicked for him at the major league level. He was sent down because he was chasing pitches. He was too aggressive in the at the plate, and he wasn't as patient enough. They worked down in the minor leagues with him on that. called him back up, and yeah, things weren't perfect, but there was definite improvement. And then you fast forward now to spring training, and they say he's looked terrific at the plate down there so far in spring training. So Joe Adell is definitely someone to keep an eye on. He's got great talent, great speed on the base paths, great athlete, great defensively. But can he take that next step now? I think swinging the bat is going to be the question. You got Walsh there, Max Stassi, played pretty well last year as the catcher for the Angels, Marsh and Fletcher. But really, it's going to depend on Adell, to me, stepping up. And the big three, Otani, Trout, Rendon. Make yourselves healthy. Stay healthy so you can make yourself available every day in the lineup here for Joe Maddon this year. On the other side, you got the Houston Astros who, I think at some point they're going to take a step back, but I don't want to say for sure that's going to be this year because there's a lot of question marks still in this division. The Angels still have to go out and prove it. The Mariners, terrific season last year, but a lot of one-run games, a lot of magic went their way. Can they get the magic to go their way again this year? Obviously, Texas and Oakland, forget it. They're still a ways behind. But I think when you look at this division, it's still Houston's until further notice. And you still have to respect Altuve, Tucker, Bregman, Yordan Alvarez, Yuli Gurriel, Michael Brantley, Jace McCormick, Jeremy Pena, and Martin Maldonado. That's still a pretty damn good group of nine that you have there in that lineup for the Astros. There's been some regression signs that I have potentially here for Framber Valdez this year. I still, he obviously last year 3.14 ERA, pretty good, 125 strikeouts, 11-6 record. But a lot of his numbers are projected to be higher this year. I'm seeing a lot of projection sites having his ERA higher. He's going to give up more hard contact. And I think there's some truth to that. And look, the LA Angels lineup, at least to start the season, is healthy. So I think they'll put some good swings together against Valdez and the Astros bullpen, which I think is vulnerable this year. I do think they've got some question marks a little bit more than they've ever had recently in that bullpen. The Angels bullpen, we know every single year it's a question mark with them.
Every year.
Last year I was ripping apart that they're throwing in Myers all the time out of that bullpen and how bad he was. And they just had so many issues at the back end of their bullpen. And I don't know if they're really going to be leaps and bounds improvement there. So this is another overplay for me in this game. It's not so much a side. It's 8.5. It's, a night where it's going to be pretty relatively mild in Los Angeles for early April. I mean, we're looking at, not bad temperatures here at all for this game tonight at Angel Stadium. So, 8.5, you get both teams to get to 4 runs, you get the over in this game. I think that's very, very doable. So, nothing on the side for me, but I did bet over 8.5 minus 120.
I like that look. I like that look a lot. You're very convincing. That's why you're a show host, Ian. You're very convincing. You laid out a great case right there. I'm still going to stick with the Astros. Like I said, I got on money line and first 5 money line. I think that Framber Valdez does pitch well today. And I think he has a 4 FIP and like you said, a 3 ERA. So that's an indication sign that maybe it's beneficial to have the platinum glove best defender in baseball for the year, Carlos Correa, behind you. Now you have a rookie, and we'll see how that changes it. And a year older of Jose Altuve's defense. So, well, I can see the case being made there. I think that Framber will start well. Maybe it'll be actually, you know what? I think it could definitely be a case of him either starting well and going through the year and eventually just kind of breaking down, or the opposite, the exact opposite. Not figuring it out to start off, him struggling there, and eventually after a couple, tweaks, twists, whatever he has to do, he figures it out. I'm going to hope that he starts out well here. Like I said, I've got that. And I'm also going to mention a player prop here. I'm a big Tucker guy, and then shout out to my guy, Jeremy, who mentioned this to me. I think he was one of the first people to put me onto this. I think I haven't made it official, or I don't think I'm going to make it official, but I didn't pick an MVP, but my pick for MVP this year would be Tucker, Cole Tucker, Kyle Tucker, whatever his name is right now. I forgot. There's so many Tuckers that I've lost track of my Tuckers, but I think that he's going to be a great hitter this year. He's kind of put it all together, and in the playoffs especially, he's terrifying to go against. Terrifying to go against. I think it's Kyle Tucker, by the way. There's what I know. I think that he's a great hitter, and I actually took Kyle Tucker over 1.5 bases I think I got it at, let me double check. I got it at plus 136 right now on Bovada. You can get it at plus 122. So that makes me feel a little better. I think he's just a great hitter all around. I forget if he's a no batting gloves guy now off the top of my head. I don't think he is. I think he goes bare hands on the wood. So that obviously makes you more fearsome. Great hitter. I think he wins the MVP this year in the American League, and I think he has a nice night today. So give me that one over 1.5 bases for Kyle Tucker plus 136.
It makes sense.
Yeah, no, it's. I think he's going to be. I think this is, for sure he's going to be the marquee game of the night. So I can't wait for it. Last game, maybe low key the best pitching matchup of the evening. We'll see. We've got the San Diego Padres going to the Arizona Diamondbacks. Yu Darvish versus Mad Bum. I forgot. Oh, it's Mason Saunders. I should just write Mason Saunders instead of Madison Bumgarner. But both of those guys come out today. We'll see. I don't know what we're gonna get from Madison Bumgarner. It's tough to say. First year with the Diamondbacks, horrific, which is a terrible signing. We all figured that out. We're like, oh my goodness, what are we gonna do with this? He had a 6 ERA actually, 6.48. So and a higher FIP, a 7 FIP. So it could have even been worse for him. Last year, he figures it out a bit. He figures it out a 7 and 10 and a 4.67 ERA. So figuring it out to what extent, who knows? I think that Madison is a little washed up. He enjoyed his contract, but he can definitely put together an outing or two when there's some wind, some helping him, some effects, maybe some shadows here or there. He can have himself an outing. So he's still a good pitcher from time to time, but not a guy that I look to bet on in most occasions. On the other side, Yu Darvish, really fun pitcher to watch. When he's on and throwing strikes, he can make the ball dance, like Cab said earlier this morning on Betting with the Bag. I think that this will be a fun game if you like pitching battles. I wouldn't be surprised here if Madison Bumgarner came out pitching well. I mentioned Zach Greinke is one of those older guys that you would rather bet on early than late. I think Madison Bumgarner falls into that category too. First five under 4.5 is minus 110 on Bovada. I don't hate that. Don't love it enough to make it official. But I think this will be a fun game. It's obviously minus 140 for the Padres full game, so I can't really bet that, and there's not enough juice for me to bet the Diamondbacks. So a pass for me here, but I will, of course, will be watching it as it is opening day baseball.
Yeah, definitely. It's interesting because I do want to see if Yu Darvish, can kind of bounce back as well. Obviously, last year the second half just fell apart for him. It fell apart for the whole Padres team. Who's kidding
Yeah.
who? That's exactly why they made the managerial change in the offseason, but because that was just a flat out flop from the Padres last year. They expected to at least be in the playoffs, and then they completely melted down from that point and just completely fell out of it. But I actually do very much like the managerial hire of Bob Melvin. I do.
Absolutely.
Bob Melvin's going to come in here. He's going to command respect because every year with him in Oakland, all they did was overachieve. And all they did was get the absolute most out of everybody, every starter, every reliever, every position player. You always got the best the Oakland A's had to offer. Bob Melvin managing that team. He's going to hold people accountable here with San Diego. He's not going to mess up some of his in-game decision making, which was an issue previously. I think so. There's going to be some big improvements just having Bob Melvin. I think in the dugout. I think that's going to help San Diego. Part of me wants to think San Diego will be a bet-on team, someone that can bounce back, put the disaster of last year behind them. But there are still issues. The issues are Yu Darvish. I got to see him come out of the gate strong. I'm not ready to bet it here in the first game. It's a manageable lineup. The Diamondbacks are not going to be a great offensive team this year. That's putting it mildly. And when you look at the Diamondbacks, there was even some concern of Ketel Marte, who to me is their best hitter by far, if he'd even be ready to be in the lineup for opening day. Thankfully, they're at least going to have him in the lineup tonight for Arizona. But you look at that lineup, there's a lot of question marks. There's a lot of potential holes in it. And, of course, on the San Diego Padres side of the equation, they've got to start the year without, obviously, their star, Fernando Tatis Jr. So what's that going to mean now for the rest of this lineup? They've all got to pick up the slack. We need more consistency out of Machado. The Crone Zone, as Don Orsillo always called him last year, Jake Cronenworth. He's going to be in the 3 spot now. Luke Voigt files into the DH. Will Myers, right field. Eric Hosmer, I think he could step it up a little bit. Times last year, he went through a little bit of a funk. So those are the guys that have got to collectively get things going offensively to help out for the absence of Tatis Jr. What worries me here about Mad Bum, we know he's crafty. We know he's got guile. We know he's got, baseball IQ and all that. And he knows how to pitch and try to keep opposing hitters off balance. But the one thing he struggled with last year was right-handed hitters. It really, really crushed him. And you're going to see a lot of those type of hitters on the San Diego lineup. So I think in theory, this is an advantage for the Padres tonight. I do have a lean to the Padres. I do want to think they're a bet-on team for a little bit of a bounce-back season with a better manager in the dugout for them this year, and Bob Melvin. I still think their bullpen is capable. I can't say that about Arizona's bullpen. So I haven't bet the game, and I'm not going to because I'm petrified what I'm going to get from Darvish. I need to see it because that second half was just so bad for him. And we're talking about a guy that's 35 years old now. So, I mean, it's maybe not a sign, a sure thing that, hey, he gets it back this year. Talking about a guy that's had a lot of innings, a lot of years under his belt. He's now mid-30s in age. I'm going to have to see what we get from Darvish before backing him, which is why lean San Diego, but I won't be pulling the trigger.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. It's kind of, I haven't been a Yu Darvish guy. I don't like betting on him. He's a fun pitcher to watch, but he's suffered from control issues. And I think my least favorite thing is betting on a pitcher and then him just walking people, throwing balls in the dirt. It's disgusting. It's one of the reasons why I struggle to bet on the Red Sox when Tanner Houck is pitching. And then and guess what? This is the first show of Say Hey Plays officially. I am a Red Sox fan. I will mention the Red Sox as my example for things because I know them best, unfortunately. So I apologize going forward for that. But Tanner Houck, he's a good pitcher with good stuff. He just can't throw strikes all the time. And when you get a pitcher like that, it's tough to bet on him. And I feel like Yu Darvish could beat that. So I agree with you. I want to stay off this game as well. But Ian, we do have some bets in here. You might not have as many as I. Maybe I'm a little eager. I heard several times today, maybe people shouldn't make as many bets on opening day, blah, 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 blah. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we roll on like that. That's how we do it, Ian. That's how we do it. Now, Ian, please, I am going to do my absolute very best to keep track of our guest records here. So I would love if you could go through any official plays you're going to give out here today. And if you could throw a line on there, that would make my life extremely easy. And I'd appreciate it.
Well, I'm glad the show's at 5:30 Eastern today, and not 12:30 Eastern, or else I probably would have given out Brewers run line. And obviously that was not a good way to go there on that one. But I do like these two totals here of the 4 games that we broke down here on the show. And I'm going to give them out both as official. We'll go with the New York Mets, Washington Nationals, over 9 minus 115 at DraftKings. Best number and best price looks to be there with that. And I'm also going to go with over 8.5 minus 120, Houston Astros, LA Angels. And that is at Caesars with that, the best number and best price. So there we go. We'll give you 2 totals for this Thursday night. Hopefully go for the 2-0 sweep. Mets, Nats, over 9, minus 115. Astros, Angels, over 8.5, minus 120. As far as the other games, lean to the first 5 under, Braves and Reds, but just a lean there. And lean San Diego Padres at minus 135. Again, just a lean there.
That was exquisite, Ian. That was exquisite.
Yep.
And I'm gonna try to follow your example here and read off my plays here. I won't mention the 3 plays I've already had because they're pointless, but I went 2-1 on them. Not a big deal. But we're going with the Houston Astros money line plus 107. Right now you can get that around even money against the Angels and Ohtani. I also took them first 5 money line minus 105. Also, I have Kyle Tucker. I was about to say Cole Tucker again. His name's Kyle. Kyle Tucker over 1.5 bases at plus 136. You can get that right now, plus 122 on Bovada. And I added on this show because of Ian. I'm going to go ahead and make it official because I just bet it. Cincinnati, Atlanta, first 5 under 4.5. Got it at minus 120. A little pricey, a little juicy, but I do like both these pitchers. I think Molly can start off strong. Like I said, my only concern would be Molly in this. I have a lot more faith in Free, which is obvious, but maybe it takes a second for that Braves lineup to crank up. I think one of my, hot takes, whatever you want to call it, is I think the Braves are going to struggle a little bit this year. I don't think they're going to win the division, and maybe Ronald Acuna going on Instagram Live saying how he didn't talk to Freddie Freeman is the beginning of that stuff. Maybe that is where we go. So I think they at least start off a little slow today. So we'll take that first 5 under 4.5. Ian, thank you very much for joining me on this first edition of Say Hey Plays. 40 minutes in, nice tight show, a nice tight 40. We love that. I was looking throughout the games, trying to see if there's any live betting opportunities, but with the Cardinals up 4-0, I had nothing there, and I kind of just want to enjoy what the Royals and the Guardians are doing, because right now they're the 1-1 game with the man on second and Josh Stalmont, one of the best relievers in baseball that not many people talk about, on the mound. I looked at the prices around even money for the Royals earlier, probably changed, so nothing I like there. So I think it's just going to be a nice, easy show today. And before I forget, Jack of the Day, which again, we'll have another name, or I'll bring back the old graphics with Connor's permission, who will be joining us hopefully soon. Jack of the Day is going to be JD Davis, plus 400 on the Mets. I'm going to write that down right now. I think that, or well, I should say, I don't think that, I know that he's had past success with Patrick Corbin, 4 home runs, like I mentioned earlier. I think Alonso's was plus 280. I wanted to go for a little bit of a score here. Would love if JD Davis started his night and his season hot with a home run, perhaps in the first inning, because he's hitting 2. So we'll get some shots here. Awesome. So, Ian, again, thank you so much. Let's wrap this show up. I appreciate everyone for watching. Let's shout out everyone in the chat. Real Deal Prime, appreciate it. Oh, Jared GT wants to mention the Blue Jays right now. Ian, I'll let you mention that real quick. Do you think the Blue Jays are going to win it all this year? Do you have any futures on the Blue Jays?
I do. The one of many teams, actually. I think for World Series futures, I ended up taking 6 teams. Did I? 6? Yeah, 6. I have the Dodgers at 5-1, Blue Jays at 9-1, the Milwaukee Brewers, although they lost their first game today, at 12-1. Tampa Bay Rays at 16-1. Like, think about that. Tampa Bay Rays to win the World Series at 16-1. People keep thinking that every year that they're going to fall off and suddenly not be smart, not know how to manage a ball club, not know how to manage a pitching staff. When all they do is every year they manage the pitching staff, they find arms, they find bullpen arms, they find starters, they find a lineup that puts the ball in play, gives you good at bats. I know it's not a star-laden lineup outside of Franco on that Rays team, but that is still a efficient, well-run, with a good ball club that plays smart ball every day, and you can get 16-1 on them. I thought that was great. The Mets 16-1. Again, we're hoping for things to go right for them, which sometimes might be asking a lot. And the Angels, I actually did a little on the Angels at 25-1. Because I thought that was better than trusting the win total, because I figure, if they get in the playoffs, they're live, but I could also see them totally missing the playoffs again. So that's why I went just right to the futures board rather than bet the win total. But as far as the Jays, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think their starting rotation's good. Barrios, they bring in Kikuchi from Seattle. I think Manoah's going to be great for them. No question about that. I like that starting staff, what they're doing. Ryu is the big X factor. You get him back on the beam again, they could really be a good rotation. I think the bullpen's got enough quality arms to bridge to Romano, the very good closer that they have. And do I need to say anything about the lineup? I mean, my goodness, 1 through 5, it's 1 through 9, it's murderer's row. There's not an easy out. They're going to be able to hit in bunches. There's no them and Tampa are the teams I'm trusting in the AL East. That's to me where the value is. That's who I'm going with.
Yeah, the Tampa Bay Rays are always that team, man. They're confusing. They are so confusing. I don't understand them, but I understand them. By the way, shout out to Big Show, who has officially given me his blessing for Jack of the Day. So we appreciate that. Producers helping producers. That's my man, Big Show. So again, shout out to everyone watching. Jared GG, Boston Nick, Real Deal Prime, appreciate you. Lucky Power, Ross Pitts, everyone in the chat. Sam I Am, Jeff, Boston Nick, Jeremy, all those guys, gals, Sophia, Alexis, all those people, Dave and Cal, Billy, everyone, appreciate it always. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back again, because as Jimmy the Bag said, I signed myself up for over 200 plus days of work straight, and I'm excited about it. I can't wait. Hopefully my youthful exuberance will take me through it. Ian, we'll end on this last remark from you, Ian. I'm going to ask everyone their first time on the show, like one piece of advice for me and perhaps the baseball cappers are out there in the Twitter land, YouTube land, any advice for us going forward in this baseball season?
You mean for betting baseball?
Yes.
Patience. I mean, you don't need 10 bets every day. That's very important. And be diverse. Like if you look at a game and you see the money line is minus 180 and you said, I don't want to lay minus 180, bet team totals on that team. Bet a first five minus a half a run. Get creative. There are other ways to approach the opinion that you like in a game rather than just betting the money line. You could go team totals. You could go run scored in the first inning, first 5 innings. You could wait for a live betting opportunity to unfurl and and show itself to you. So, there's definitely different ways to go about it with MLB, and certainly the player props. Keep your eyes on that. Like I'm treading lightly with those the first weekend of the season, but once we get into next week, when it comes to pitcher strikeout props, I like my Jack of the Day, the home run props. I'm always interested in those. Total bases props. I bet a lot of those as well. Those are good betting opportunities. And when it comes to player props, specifically for hitting the home run and the total bases, look for players in good form. Look for players with a particular good history against that particular starting pitcher. Look for maybe a player that really hits a particular team well. There are some players that they're 24 for 30 lifetime against a particular team. Look for those instances, and they're often good situations to bet when it comes to player props. So there you go. Just a few pieces of advice right there, and hopefully it helps you have a profitable MLB season.
Well, Ian, you're going to be a reason why we have a profitable MLB season. We will see you next Thursday, perhaps sooner. Who knows? The baseball gods will determine that. And I'll give everyone the little sneak peek preview for tomorrow. Batting second, we've got Dabby Cab. Dabby Cab going to join us for his Pub Sports Radio debut.
I was hoping he'd be on the channel during baseball season for baseball shows because that guy's played baseball at a competitive level. So great addition. Cab, way to go.
Yes, Cab going to join me tomorrow. It's going to be a great time. It'll be a fun episode of Say Hey Plays. Appreciate everyone for watching. We'll catch you guys tomorrow right back here at Pub Sports Radio. I believe tomorrow is Friday. Yes, so Friday. That's how the days of the week run for me, guys.
And I'll be on with Jimmy in the morning, so tune in for that as well.
Yes, you will. Bobana will be there in the morning at 11 a.m. Eastern time. Bobana, what else you doing tomorrow? Get your plugs in too. Forgive me for not asking.
That and the NBA Pub Hub, our final regular season edition of the NBA Pub Hub tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern, and then we're back next Tuesday for the play-in tournament in the NBA. So it's play-in and play-off starting next week for the NBA Pub, and we expand to 7 days a week with the Pub Hub. NBA Pub Hub starting next Saturday, April 16, which is the first day of the playoffs. So we expand to Saturday, Sunday shows as well. So Pub Hub's growing to 7 days.
That's exciting. That is going to be very exciting. I cannot wait. Thanks everyone for watching. We'll tune in to next. Here we go. Here, let's start that over again. We will see you guys next week.
Tough being a host, isn't it? Don't I know?
I know, right? Yeah, my tongue's tired, huh? Who would have thought? Haven't had a sip of water, but who cares? We were supposed to end this show like 10 minutes ago. We've had a 10-minute outro, but we love it. This is what we do here at Say Hey Plays. Thanks, everyone, for watching, and we'll see you guys right back here tomorrow, 5:30.